love talking about money, and we're going to talk about like really about which seems like a basic question, but really is much more layered than that. So I really can't wait to sort of get into like a high philosophical discussion as to again what is money. So why don't we why don't we kick it off, Bruce? It seems like we got folks rolling in, but I'm really excited for this discussion today with the Lode team. So if you guys want to introduce yourselves, we can go around the room. Let's say hello to the audience and get them all geared up for a great talk today. So I'll kick it on over to the Lode team if you guys want to say hello.
Sure. So I'm currently the chief business officer of Lode Labs. Kind of moved up in the ranks, started as an ambassador about 4.5 years ago, became a strategist for the Lode project, and then I started Lode Payments to enable merchants to accept digital silver, digital gold as money. And then we kind of pivoted and changed Lode Payments to Lode Labs so that we can empower pretty much wallets, ATM networks, telcos, neobanks all over the world to use digital silver, digital gold as money. And now we're ready to rock and roll. Going to have an airdrop on November 17th. To anyone that has an Avalanche address.
We are, we're super stoked about that. So thank you very much, Bruce. Ian, we're thrilled to have the Lode team here.
Hi, guys. Good morning. Yeah, it's nice to be here. This is our first 6 event, right?
Together, yeah.
Together as a group. Yeah. So
we did the AMA with your team last week, and we'd like to actually broadcast that on 6 to our community in the next couple of weeks as well. I know it's up on YouTube, but that was actually really fun. That was a great, really great interview. You did a good job of directing us there. So
we're looking forward to what I think is gonna be a great session today. So yeah, Ian, for the audience at home, what is your role at Lode?
Well, I'm a co-founder, and I work with this the dominant we call it the primary service provider to the Lode community. And so what's weird and wonderful about Lode is that it's decentralized, and so anyone that has a talent in a specified sector can bring their talent to Lode and have it deployed in the Service Providers Alliance. And so it's a consortium of partners that have made it possible for silver and gold to be restored to the monetary system. And we really believe that, and have always believed from the very beginning, and I'll just share a little bit about how that happened, that the Lode system should be the people's money system, meaning that anyone, anywhere, at any time should be able to access digital silver and digital gold and use it as either a store of value, a medium of exchange, or a unit of account. And what we're going to talk a little bit about today about, what is money. I think money is sort of redefining itself. And you guys have sort of picked up on the spirit of that conversation. And that's why we're here today, is to talk about what we believe could be the fourth attribute of money, which is decentralization. How do people gain access to mediums of exchange that are stabilized or created or constructed from something that is universally recognized as valuable everywhere, using their mobile devices without permission of anyone? And so storing value in silver and gold has never been more efficient. And it's a bit of a Airbnb, Uber type story where, you're taking technology and applying it to one of the oldest industries in the world and making it more efficient. And so efficiency is what the Lode system brings. And it's powered by a very powerful network of over 60 different providers globally that engage in the production, storing, minting, refining, tokenization of digital silver and gold, and then sending it and spending it, through the network is the other attribute. So my role here was to try to establish the early framework for a system that would put the stakeholders in unison with the users of the system. those that have can help those that have not. Or another way to look at it is those that have the ability to buy silver could put it to work in a system and enable people all around the world to use that silver, and the transactional values are paid back to the those that have, or in this case, the Lode token holders, based on the smart contract revenues from the circulating supply of AGX coins. And so it's easier to explain today than it was 6 years ago.
Oh,
And
certainly much, right? Like
yeah,
very
and
much
you guys
so.
have seen that weird drawing that I sort of did, and that's really my role. I put together the early framework for what the system should be. And
Well,
what's
aligning incentives in along with compounding that with the network effect growth, right? That's sort of
yes, network effect.
where you
That's
guys
where we are now.
overlap there. And so in addition to the low team, we're also joined today. I'm excited with Daniel Diaz as well. Dan, you want to give a quick hello? And then I can't wait to kick off this discussion, Ian and Bruce, because we got a lot to talk about. But Dan, you want to give a quick hello, and then we're going to kick this off.
Yeah, hey everyone, thank you for having me on this important talk of what is money. My name is Daniel Diaz, and I am the Executive Director of Citizens for Sound Money and the co-founder and CEO of Metagold Miners Club, which is a gold-backed NFT project and silver-backed NFT project that we have partnered with Lode. So we'll get it. Let's get right into the talk of what is money. I think that's
let's get right into it. I'm fired up. And for those of you who don't know, I'm Jahon Jamali. I'm the CEO of the American Crypto Academy, and I'm very thrilled to be invited here to help facilitate this discussion on some sound money principles as we start to embark in full speed into the decentralized age and in the blockchain age and the blockchain era. So we know what the question is, but let me kick it off with this before we really dive into trying to answer it. And maybe we can start off right with you, Ian. Why are we asking this question right now?
What is money?
Yeah, why now are we asking this question?
I suppose that it's topical because so many people just use money but don't really know what it actually is. Maybe that's one of the things.
Oh yeah,
The other thing
definitely.
is that, maybe I sort of stole the thunder for this in my opening rant, but uh, money is redefining itself, right?
It is
And
redefining itself.
yeah,
Absolutely.
and you don't have to go very far. Just search up Kathy Woods, from ARK Investments out of New York. She's like an oracle of this industry, and she's been saying for a long time that, not only will access to smartphones, which is like 11 billion of them been made now worldwide. Most people have two now, are providing tremendous access to everyone worldwide, and increasing access and inclusion in the financial system, giving people access to not only financial mediums but new forms of money. And then recently, she's come out and said that the money systems of the future, or the monetary systems of the future, are going to be, rules based or non-rules based monetary systems that are constructed from oldest, universal forms of money, which is, in this case, I guess, precious metals, but it could be anything. Money is what we agree that it is, and it used to be seashells. And and we've got one of the predominant experts in the world for commercial barter trade, or reciprocal trade, right here with Bruce. I mean, he's the master. Been at
Yeah,
this
Bruce and I were having a
40
great
years.
conversation
Yeah.
backstage, Ian, sort of on this very sort of concept that you're
Mhm.
touching on now is this concept of having a new view. I call it a new view of money is
Yeah,
not a new concept,
not new, no.
right, Bruce?
No, no. So, in the reciprocal trade world, it's small communities of merchants and members. Could be anywhere from, I don't know, 300 to 3,000 that are using an internal digital currency for payments, purchases, and sales between each other. And this is all before blockchain. It's all before digital currencies like Bitcoin and Ether, or even AGX and AUX. And what's interesting is the world really doesn't know about the reciprocal trade industry or trade and barter. It's about a $650 billion a year industry, and there's three facets of trade. One is retail trade, small to mid-sized merchants trading with each other so that they're able to pay for the products and services they need at their own cost of their own product or service. So most companies have a 25, 30, 40% cost. A restaurant is able to pay for their carpet cleaning and their hood and duct maintenance and their pest control with 40-cent dollars. And of course, in a barter system, it refers new companies and new people to come and dine at their restaurant or eat at their hotel. The next stage of barter is corporate trade, where the corporate trade company is a principal in the transaction. They're buying an excess or an underperforming asset or inventory. They're paying for it with trade credits, and then the company can use those trade credits with cash to reduce their cash requirements in purchasing. And, some of the interesting transactions that we've done over the years was when Sony acquired Ericsson. They had 30,000 smartphones on their books for $80 per phone, but they were only offered $30 per phone by Overstock.com. So we gave them the $80 per phone, which eliminated their loss, their write-down, and then we sold them to Overstock.com. So we became in the middle of that transaction using arbitrage to make it work. And
so all these new concepts of utilizing different ways of like monetary vehicles have existed, and you guys have obviously a rich depth of history in that, right? So we've come upon this time. Here we all are having this conversation, right? And it seems to me that there's a few things that got us here. Daniel, did you have some thoughts on sort of what got us to this point while we're asking this question now?
Yeah. Why is it important? What we're asking is money. What is money? So the problem is most of the world thinks they're using money, but the dollar is not money. The euro is not money. These are currencies. And the main differentiating factor between what money is and what this paper monopoly money every person on the planet is using is the paper money is not a store of value, because every single fiat currency on the planet loses its purchasing power every single day. It's not a good store to put your retirement, because the central banks and the federal governments of every nation in the world is stealing our wealth because they just print as much as they want, therefore creating inflation. So I think it's important we have this talk and educate the masses and educate everybody that's listening right now what money is. Stop calling the dollar money. Like Mike Maloney says, if we differentiate between money and currency and start calling it what it is, currency, and currency is its slavery of the people, I think we'll start educating the masses on, wait a second, this dollar in my checking account, this dollar in my pocket, it's not money, it's currency, because they're stealing it from me every single day. And I think that's what we need to discuss and really define what money is.
So let's talk about that. Let's start right there. The classical definition of money.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that for a minute. And because Ian brought up what I think is the most important part of our conversation today, which is this additional fourth component. But let's talk about maybe just a few of the, I guess, legacy aspects.
If you don't mind, I'm sharing my screen.
Go for it.
Traditional definition of money is three things: a medium of exchange, a unit of account, and a store of value. And this is what differentiates a currency from money. And if we want to expand the definition even further to identify more forms of money, here's basically how Mike Maloney, and I added a last component, decentralized. But this is how Mike Maloney defines money: medium of exchange, a unit of account, portable, durable, divisible, fungible, and a store of value. And I add decentralized because traditional money is also decentralized, because I think both you, Jahon, Ian, and Bruce has hinted to it. We, the people, chose what money was, thereby it being decentralized.
Very cool.
Absolutely. So Ian, let's talk about this decentralized aspect for a bit, because I think it's this aspect that has made the practical daily usage of gold and silver not that feasible for many folks. But you guys have taken a very different approach to bringing this additional definition element to
Yeah.
what you're doing at Lode, and I think that's amazing.
Yeah, and I will say, I think that it just occurred to me that this, what is money topic should maybe be a series, because there are some very qualified people in our audience today that should be on this show with us. And maybe we need to do, what is money 2.0 and 3.0 in the coming weeks, and invite them on, because the topic is very broad. I would say that the conversation about money and access to currency is probably the number 2 topic in every family globally. It's what everyone strives after to settle trade, commerce, or to accomplish certain things in their life. And it's also the way that they're trying to store value. And what people don't realize is that storing value in something that is inflationary or devalues or is corruptible at the hands of politicians, or legislators, or Congress in this case, and other groups, is that the creation of money in recent years has been all about lining the pockets of the people that create it, and that is extremely upsetting and disconcerting for all of those that believe in what the function of money should be. It shouldn't be created so that people can line their pockets. It should be created so that people can live their lives in a stabilized environment and settled trade and feed themselves. And so it's really meant not to enrich people, but rather help to settle your affairs in an honest fashion. And so
That's an important distinction, Ian. I'm glad you brought that up, because that's what it was intended for.
Yeah.
Settlement.
It's just so you could settle your daily bread, right? So that the work that went into your running your life, and all the people that contributed to you, improving your life, could be paid with something that could be traded again, to help them and improve their lives as well. So I don't want to be Farmer John about this. The ship has sailed a long time ago, but the oldest form of money, I think, and the most universal form of money ever used by mankind, goes back 5,000 years, is silver. Even most people's Bible has over 20 references to silver being money. And it doesn't really matter what your Bible is. It could be the Quran. The Quran says silver is money. And so, there are bodies of law globally that are old historic law, whether common law or Muslim law, Sharia law. Sharia law says that silver and gold are money, and that is the only real legitimate form of money. And so when Lode got going, we looked at all sorts of things that could be tokenized and minted as money. And there are thousands of things that could be minted as money. Cannabis could be minted as money. Real estate can be money. Wheat could be money. And in many cases, it is. Wheat is traded for oil all around the world. But the most sort of historic medium of exchange has been silver. And that's why the Lode system has been built on silver, restoring silver.
I do want to interject here. I would argue that commodities that can rot can't be money, because it's not a good store of value. You can't.
But they can be mediums.
It's a medium of exchange for sure, because it's short term. And I think that's why it's so important that we define money and we use the term money for things that are actually money, and currency and commodities for things that aren't money. So really, the only things that are money are gold and silver. And I'm of the opinion Bitcoin is also a form of money, just because it meets every single one of the qualifications. It's a medium of exchange, unit account, store of value, portable, durable, divisible, fungible, and decentralized. But we're here to talk about gold and silver, not about my views on Bitcoin. But
what's funny?
I think you're 100% right, though. And there's a role for Bitcoin in the financial system of the future. It doesn't have to be the only choice, but it does speak very loudly to decentralization, doesn't it?
It does.
So,
censorship resistant. try to make it illegal. I'm a I was a crypto miner. I'm still a blockchain consultant, crypto miner. And when China made Bitcoin mining illegal, I think it was in May or June of 22.
Which time?
Well, when
they typically make it illegal right before they're about to put it to work.
Yeah, exactly. So, but within 2 months of them making it legal, and the hash rate of the Chinese country dropped from 68% of the entire Bitcoin hash rate to 0, we started noticing the hash rate started increasing back up to about 20% because they started opening up mines out in the jungles with either hydropower or solar, and it was resistant to government coercion and government censorship. So I think Bitcoin, just like gold and silver, when the United States made gold illegal to own, you think that Americans, all of them, just turned their gold in? No, most Americans were criminals holding gold and silver illegal because it's decentralized. The government doesn't determine what money is. We, the people, do. And because it's decentralized and we decide what money is, we decided Bitcoin is money. Us in the 21st century, Web3 crowds. Because we see that the government control of the fiat currency or money is a way to oppress the people. And that's why I think this talk is so important, because I think people need to understand when government hijacks quote unquote money or creates quote unquote money, which is really currency, and makes us think it is, they're enslaving us by stealing our purchasing power. Our most important how do you say it? Not commodities, resources as human beings is our freedom and our freedom and our purchasing power, our economic energy. And the best way to store that is through putting it in real money, gold and silver. We can store our economic energy in gold, which takes a supernova to create. And with Bitcoin, it takes a lot of electricity to create a digital currency. And also, by having real money, we have our freedom. We can do what we want. We can live life. But when we have fiat currency, it enslaves us because they're stealing that freedom from us every single time they press print.
So, Dan, let me ask, and Ian, I'd like to hear your opinion too. This is kind of a funny this is kind of a funny concept we're debating. Like, why are we at this stage having a conversation of people should understand the difference between currency and money? Where did everyone go wrong? And that not being something you learn in 2nd or 3rd grade. Where did we all go wrong here? Right? Where did our system go wrong that this type of financial education, financial literacy education, is made so opaque? Why?
Do we want to go down that rabbit hole?
Well, I'm just saying, we have alternatives, right? So, this is the reason I Nerd Crypto Academy. This is near and dear to what we do. This is why
we need G. Edward Griffin on the call.
Yes, exactly. I'm actually reading his book now. I'm on chapter 16.
This is why it's important to foster an educational environment, which you guys I think are doing really well with the tone of the content, the message, right? You guys are really taking, I think, great care to deliver a blockchain-driven solution to an blockchain-driven amplification to an existing solution.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. I would just like to share this message with the young people of the world, the millennials. Get ready to seize on your independence, and and choose the money that you want to use in the future. And universal money, Bitcoin, AGX, AUX coins, and anything that is constructed either from a very powerful set of proof of work, as opposed to a tokenized fiat currency, is going to be the stabilized money of the future. And so, the Lode system was constructed to do that, and it is operational, fully operational, and we're handing it over to the people now. And, we're going to have to use some resources to promote that, but having global access to silver as money, using Web3 decentralized networks, which are very efficient and low cost and settle instantly. I mean, we could, on our next What is Money call, we could do maybe a live demo and show you that I can send you guys.
That'd be great, Ian, if you guys could do a demo, because that's it. I was just about to ask, I think for the audience at home, they're probably thinking in their head, okay, I can get exposure to gold and silver, but it's not just that. It's not just getting exposure to that. It's not just utilizing, AVAX as or as your wallet. You guys are putting it to use,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You guys
And
let
it's
it
getting easier to use. It's like email was in 1998, and the original browser before Google. But it's coming. I mean, the ease with which people can create a wallet now because of Tor technology, and they can create wallets with their email, and they don't need the 12 words and all of that stuff. They can get access to that. But I think that the challenge of the future, as we make it, as the community and the industry makes it easier to connect to the money of the future, is the training that needs to go along with securing those assets, because this is where all the hackers are going to love getting involved in all this stuff. So the training of the future, not only to sort of restore, or sorry, to install confidence around what these new digital mediums of exchange are, and these new forms of money, is helping people to secure them. So
Absolutely. That's a really good point you bring up. Everyone likes to talk about independence, self-custody, self-sovereignty. Along with that comes responsibility.
Yeah,
You got to
exactly.
be able to,
Your
you got to
independence.
understand the threats if you want to custody your assets.
Yeah, your independence from a custodian or third party risk is only mitigated when you take full responsibility for your actions, and that's what blockchain requires. Is that if you're going to remove the middleman, there is nobody between you and your money except you, and so you need to be trained to secure that, and it's getting easier to do that, which is the good news.
Well, that drives the value of money to a degree, right, Ian? Like money's only as valuable as your ability to protect it, right?
Yeah.
If like there was no such thing as a safe and everyone just kept their gold in their front yard,
Yeah,
it would affect the value.
we've all watched the Western movies, haven't we?
Right.
Rob the stagecoach, steal from the train, steal the horse to rob the train, so to speak. And that points to Wild Wild West. And this is the problem. One of the problems, many problems that the industry is solving is, with easier access comes a little bit more risk. And so, but there are very intelligent ways to protect your wealth and to store that wealth, and they exist. It's just, do people know about them?
So I want to say something for our audience members, which I'm going to assume they're not as divested from fiat currency as say I am. I am 95% out of fiat. I have.
How can we get that to 96? That's the goal.
Well, I still got to pay my bills and everything in fiat, so that's where the 5% comes in. But I like when I run out of cash, I sell my digital gold or silver or my Bitcoin or my cryptocurrencies that I'm invested in, and turn it into fiat, because I truly believe that the currency and the fiat economic system within the next 1 to 3 years is going to have, at least in the United States and potentially other countries, is going to have a hyperinflationary event and could lead to the collapse of our great nation. I know you, Ian, are in Canada, and Bruce, I know you're in the U.S., but even, Canada has issues with fiat. Every nation in the world right now is either...
Can I tell you some breaking news?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm still waiting to confirm this, but I'm seeing reports that China's digital yuan was used for a massive international oil purchase and a worldwide first.
That happened yesterday.
It was yesterday, huh? I just saw the headlines on that.
Yeah, well, that's what the BRICS nations are doing, right? So BRICS is all about divesting out of the dollar.
And how about, they used PetroChina used a digital yuan, used the digital yuan to do it.
Yeah, they're calling it the Petro yuan now. So instead of the Petro dollar.
So like this moment in time that we're telling everybody it's coming, is very clearly here.
It's the Bretton Woods of our generation.
We're watching it happen right in front of us.
And to give some staggering statistics, in 2001, the U.S. dollar was 73% of the global reserve currencies around the world. Today, it stands at around 59 to 58%. And every analyst I've researched and listened to says that within the next 5 years, it's going to drop below 50%.
Well, yeah, I mean, like when when the final convertibility was like taken away to gold, there was at a time, like, think about it for a moment. Early 1970s Europe. Europe's not a very strong Europe,
Mm-hmm.
right? And they kept on complaining about like Washington bringing up the bill. Well, just going to rug that complaint. You can't complain anymore. Now you got to convert it back to dollars,
Yeah.
right?
Well, if you look at the administration in the U.S., there's nobody defending the currency either right now, and this is why there's going to be.
No, they're all trying to keep the grift going.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Every new one is like the latest excuse to like keep it going, but like I'd like to think that most reasonable Americans, or a higher number of them every day, are seeing right through it.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Either they're in the shock moment, Bruce, right? They're in like this can't be happening, right? You always grew up with this latent belief, and this is like, not everybody, but like, you had this faith that smart people were in charge, even in an emergency. Somebody smarter than me is figuring this out. I have news for everybody. Now that the internet has connected you all, that's not the case.
No, we see reality.
Everybody's the same as like they're the same kids you knew when you were in school. Now they're in charge of things.
Yeah. Have you met your
if the U.S. If the U.S. people, if the U.S. citizens are not careful, that little building on the river shores of Manhattan is going to be the new White House of America.
Oh yeah,
Because
that
the
one
UN is taking over, and that's one world government and one world currency, and it's happening. And so, what you're witnessing in the administrative body of the United States right now is nobody is defending the dollar.
Well, yeah,
They're
I mean, look where
moving
Bretton Woods
on that agenda.
and Bretton Woods. Ian, where did it put things? It put the IMF in DC, like the UN in New York.
Yeah.
You think they like chose those places like accidentally?
No, look, the U.S. was the greatest threat to the communist one world vision that Karl Marx and Frederick Engels wanted, and because we're basically a humongous continental island, they had to try to circumvent other ways, and I think it was through the monetary system, pushing forward socialist monetary policy, which is modern monetary policy, by the way. John Maynard Keynes, and I forget the other men that really pushed forward modern monetary theory during Bretton Woods. I mean, it was always the idea to steal the wealth. Listen, inflation is just socialist methods and monetary policy to redistribute wealth. How do they do that? They print money, they steal it from the masses, and then they redistribute it to third world developing countries. So they're stealing our wealth, sending it overseas to build them up to cause wars to happen. This is a fact. This is what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, it's our friend of our Confessions of an Economic Hitman, right?
Yeah, exactly. So look, what people don't realize, currency is not money. Currency is weaponized monetary warfare that they're using to make the strong nations of the world, the Western nations, weak. Because once we no longer have the dollar, look, we've raised rates and we've printed so much money, we're not in a recession. Almost every nation in the world is in a recession because they've raised rates. But the problem with raising rates and not going into recession is, well, that means we have too much supply out there. It's too much circulating supply, and it's coming home to roost. So we went from 73% to 59%. That means all those dollars plus everything we're spending and sending to Ukraine, sending the Israel, sending overseas. I mean, it's too much. We have $33 trillion in debt, which is basically dollars being printed out there. That's a liability that then need to be paid back to the governments and then the bonds and everything. So I mean, it's very scary what's happening, and I mean it's mostly because we're uneducated. Once we got off the gold standard, they took out the textbooks in the 70s that gold and silver was money. Now we think these paper fiat currencies are.
Well, the beauty about that is now like information is widely available, and you don't have to rely on the book that you're given at school.
Yeah,
and that dynamic. So like this, well, my personal, I'll chime in here with personal opinion, right? This is always how it had to happen.
Mm-hmm.
This was always how it had to happen.
The
It wasn't going
dollar
to
is
happen without this type of like blow off top.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if the dollar is going to survive, it has to be restored to gold standard. It has to, and that's, I think, the only thing that will secure the dominance for the next generation is that if the dollar gets recalled and is backed by gold. So where are you going to get all that gold?
Yeah. If we did that,
Probably
that
not Fort Knox.
No, it's
There's
not
any in there.
important. There's a lot of gold. There is a lot of gold in the United States. A lot. Central banks are stacking gold because they know it's the only way to offset their debt on their balance sheet.
Yeah.
These dollars are all debt.
That's all it is. It's a dead instrument.
And they're owed to the people that print them, which is the 5 or 6 families of the world that own everything, including BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street, and everything. So, it's interesting times.
It certainly
And
is. But like you guys, Ian, I think are doing it correctly. In that you are, so there's so much overlap in the Bitcoin digital asset narrative along with the gold, silver, sound money narrative. You guys are fusing that very nicely, I think. So we talked a little bit early in our call about some things that you guys had coming up. I'd love to be able to remind our audience of stuff that you guys have. You guys have an airdrop coming up, and for folks that aren't familiar with Lode, you should be checking out the website. So for those that want to learn more, where can they go learn more?
Bruce?
Yep. Well, the website is lode.one, Lode, as in motherlode.one. Talks all about the Lode system, the project, the people. We also have a couple of different Visa cards coming.
That I think is awesome, Bruce. I'm glad you brought that up. I was nervous to bring that up because I knew the alpha. I didn't know if you wanted to drop the alpha.
No, we could talk about it. We've got a wait list on Lode.one. Where people can get on the wait list. I believe we added the link at the top menu under participate. And the Lode card is going to come in a couple different versions. So one way is that people can use the Lode card, to pay merchants worldwide, about 29 million merchants, with digital silver, digital gold, which converts the silver or the gold automatically at the point of sale in real time.
That's so cool.
To settle to the merchant.
I know you guys will get fired up about that. I think that's super fired up. You know what a pain in the neck it is, Bruce, to like flip things into like USDC for my crypto. I'm going to go use it. You guys do it right at the point of sale from silver and gold. I know that sounds like a small thing to people at home. I think that makes it seamless.
Yeah, we created a decisioning process at the point of sale. So we query the balance of the AGX or the AUX, and if it has sufficient balance in digital silver or digital gold, we settle to the merchant in real time, and then we convert the AGX or the AUX into the fiat currency to replenish the treasury account. Second type of card that will come out probably by Q2 2024. It's just going to be a Visa card. But the difference in the Lode Visa card or the G3 Visa card would be that it could be used to pay merchants everywhere in the world with different fiat currencies. But the rewards that will be given back to the cardholders will probably be 3 to 4 times any other rewards or point systems that are out there from other companies. So the challenge, is for that card to be top of wallet, to be the primary card to use all the time, to get somewhere between 2 and 8% back in digital gold on every single purchase.
So that's amazing. I mean, and that's why I love the fact you guys are decentralized. You guys are going to be coming out with a card. Now tell us a little bit about what this Lode token is that you guys are airdropping.
You want to talk about that, Ian?
Yeah. Lode is the protocol token. It's basically the network token. So these 3 assets work together. So what happens is by buying a Lode token, the user enables the creation of the AGX coin. And the AGX coin is the money in the system. And so the owner of the system is essentially the Lode token, and the user in the system, or the product in the system, is the AGX coin and AUX coin. So let me give you a very, very simple illustration of how this works. Imagine that your shares that you owned in Coca-Cola went up and down every time somebody bought a bottle of Coca-Cola worldwide. That's essentially kind of what the system is like. Now it's decentralized, it's peer-to-peer, it's permissionless, using Web3 and decentralized networks and smart contracts, but essentially it's the Lode token attributes its value from the circulating supply of digital silver and digital gold. And there are 4 points of revenue that are engaged in the minting and transactional values, and then the sending and spending through payment rails. And 100% of those profit distributions are sent by the smart contract to the Lode token holders every quarter. And as the system grows, those micro payout events and affiliate rewards and revenues will be paid likely every month, and then eventually every week, and then eventually every day, because there's nothing impeding the distribution except because of the smart contracts are connected to each other. And that's what makes Lode different from everything else, is that the entire system, there is no shareholders in the Lode system. There are Lode token holders, which are governance platform protocol tokens that attribute their value from the circulating supply of digital silver and digital gold. It's a true decentralized monetary system that restores silver and gold to the monetary system using social cues. And so the network effect essentially is what's now being engaged around. And anybody that wants to contribute to a monetary system that restores silver and gold to the people will buy a Lode token, and then they will get rewarded for doing that. And so the campaign that's underway right now is a bit of a migration campaign. It's a test environment to help us secure the Avalanche network in the system by encouraging people to buy 30 Lode tokens and earn 20 during the airdrop for helping secure the network. And so this is a bit of a test to see what the attitude of the community is. It's also a test of the system itself, but it's largely operational. And so the airdrop, the community has been provided a 30-day window to buy themselves 30 Lode tokens on any network. There's 300 wallets that can engage around this protocol. There's 3,000 decentralized applications using Wallet Connect, and all of the tokens are accessible on 3 different DEXs, and several CEXs are coming in the year ahead. So as liquidity increases, the access will start to show up on a more readily, on a regular basis. And so buying 30 Lode tokens and earning 20 for helping prove up the system is what the airdrop is all about. And so anyone that has purchased 30 Lode tokens on any Avalanche address from any Avalanche wallet, enabled wallet, by the 17th of November is going to receive the first airdrop of 10 Lode tokens for free.
I have my 30.
That's a pretty big deal for those listening at home. I mean, that's, you want some straight up alpha. There you have it. So
yeah,
I love the fact that I'm going to be airdrop quarterly to start, but I think we've discussed in the past that there's nothing, like you said, preventing you from doing daily or even weekly drops of gold and silver. I think this is a great way to passively receive gold and silver through the Lode ecosystem.
Yeah.
And,
so
very bullish. Yes.
It's a machine.
It'll be like Apple Cash. Every time you use Apple Pay to pay for something, you get cash back. Except in our situation, you're going to get gold back.
Yeah. And I've already received, I think, a microtransaction, a little bit of AGX a few days ago. So it's already working. If you own Lode and you're in the system, you're already getting micro payments.
Yeah, you got your quarterly micro payout.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome, Dan. And don't forget, so folks, once again, Lode.1, right? If you guys want to check out the website online, and stay up to date with the most current events. I can't wait. I can't wait to do this again because this is going to have to be a series of discussions, right? Like I feel like we've only scratched the surface of the original question of what is money, and like here we are about at the end of our time now. So we're going to have to do this again and go in a little bit deeper.
We do need to do it again because we should have Jim on here, we should have David on here, we should have Mike on here. There's lots of really highly qualified people that really are
the community needs to hear from them. Totally.
Yeah.
There are so many qualified people, and I know a bunch are in the audience now. So like we'd love to have you. I'm just here to ask the questions and learn a little bit more. And we had such great guests today, and I know that so many folks are interested in this that we'd love to have more participation up in the speaker role.
It's all happening.
Just let us know they'd like to participate in what is money 2, 3, or 4. Is one other thing is merchants can participate as well on lodemarkets.com. Any merchant can go on there, open up a store, start selling, and accept digital silver, digital gold for payment.
And I do want to do a plug, if you guys don't mind, for Citizens for Sound Money.
Yeah, please do that.
Do it.
Yeah, do
so,
that.
Citizens for Sound Money, we are for promoting sound money and the applicable use of gold and silver. And we're doing that right now by lobbying the Sound Money Act across the country. So we have lobbied so far in New Hampshire, South Carolina, and Florida. We're looking to lobby in Texas, Utah, and South Dakota. And we're partnered with an organization with Kevin Freeman. He's an author and the host of a show called Economic War Room. They're working with 18 states right now across the country looking to bring transactional gold and silver to people's states. What that essentially does is makes gold and silver legal tender within the territorial borders of the state. Our bill asks that they build a state depository so each state has their gold and silver within their territorial borders. Yeah. And then what makes it functional money and currency, which thereby gets rid of capital gains and collectible taxes, those of you that collect physical gold and silver, when they make the gold and silver transactional using whether it's now Citizens for Sound Money, we don't favor any company. So, Lode System, there's Kinesis, Eris, Glint. There's a bunch of companies that do digital gold and silver. Whoever the state transacts with, that gold and silver in the vaults and gold and silver in general will not be considered taxable, whether capital gains or collectibles. So if you want your state to get this legislation passed, visit citizensforsoundmoney.org, the number 4. .org, go to donate or find the link at the bottom that talks about our legislative initiative to help us support, because it's not cheap lobbying at the state legislature and traveling. But I honestly do believe the first state in the union that's going to get this passed is Florida. We have phenomenal support on leadership on both the House and the Senate, the governor's office, and the treasurer's office. We call it the CFO. So if you want to learn more about Citizens for Sound Money, go over and check us out online. Find us on Twitter at, I think it's Citizens for Sound. Let me see. Citizens. Our handle on Twitter is 4 Sound Money at 4 Sound Money on Twitter. So, or X now, what it's called.
Yeah, you don't want to get in trouble with Elon. Well, thank you very much, Daniel. Yeah, definitely. Thanks very much. Daniel's been doing a lot of hard work, a lot of the legwork, hustling on the ground. Advocating for sound money policy. So thank you very much, and definitely go check them out online. And Bruce and Ian at Lode, you guys are doing awesome. I can't wait to continue this discussion. So we're gonna have to get this scheduled again soon and get it broadcasted out, so we can get maybe some other speakers, because I would love to continue this with some more folks.
Incredible. Yeah, we're here for it. Yeah, we're up for it. Let's do
fantastic.
It. Okay.
Well, thank you very much to our audience. Thank you very much to our speakers. This has been, I think there's a robust discussion. We can't wait to do it again. Again, I'm Jahon from the American Crypto Academy, and I want to thank Bruce, Ian, and Daniel for being here today to have this discussion, the first of many, hopefully, on what is money. So thank you very much, and we'll see everybody next time.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.